Hi, everybody. Welcome back. If you were here on Monday, and I did some work with the chair. So hopefully you have something that will work for you, and you just want to make sure that your chair has some sort of back to it, and also that when it's placed on your sticky mat, when you start to tilt the chair, which we're going to do in a second, the legs don't slip on the sticky. Should work if you've got a good mat, but just keep that in mind. And I'm also going to show some fun things on against a wall if you do have a wall nearby. Not necessary, those would be more advanced moves. But the primary thing is using the chair as a structure that if I were to somehow put that chair inside of my body, if you could visualize that for a second. Here it is, inside roughly some of the structure in the body. Or more precisely, if I were to somehow be floating next to the chair so that the top of the chair was the lower part of my body, the seat, and the back was the spine. Chairs are, of course, somewhat evil in that people just flop down like so on their chair. And so we definitely don't want to do that. Whenever you sit in a chair, you should be sitting forward and drawing into your Mula Bandha that I talked about on Monday so that you can have a tall spine. So we're going to be doing a lot of exercises that allow particularly the hips to integrate using Mula Bandha. And the chair will be our asset, our ally, and it will later allow us to do extended postures, standing postures, in a way that I think will be safe and structured. So that eventually, once you find these actions, these internal actions, then you won't need the chair. But it's there for you. First one we're going to do, just to make it simple, is to do a figure four seated either in the chair or if you prefer on the floor. And to just take the right shin over the left leg, like so, and then cup underneath the heel and the knee of the right leg like that. And just have a sense of mildly lifting up with the hands and mildly pressing down with the leg. And then reduce your attenuation so that you can breathe. We're going to go into 10 or 20 slow breaths. And as you do this, you can close your eyes and just listen. Listen to your breath. And again, you're creating a little bit of a contrast, which the yogis would say is necessary for tapas, or internal heat, to be generated. By trying to lift up with the hands, with the ribs, with the chest, same time with the hips and the sit bones, pressing down. So don't overdo this action. You can make it more and more subtle, or if you're working strength, you can create more resistance. So that's really up to you. I encourage you to play with softness and hardness in modulation and in moderation. And you begin to realize that now as you switch legs, that we all hold a certain amount of tension or attenuation. It's not necessarily a bad characteristic in the body. In yoga, as we go to the left leg, take our hands under the left knee, left hand under left knee, and right hand under the left heel, and create a connection. An uplift of the spine and the chest and the heart, right to the crown of the head, and a slight down pressure of that left hip. Come into your slow and deep breath, and back off the pressure, and then bring it back in, and just start to realize or feel that if there's too much tension or attenuation, your ability to breathe and keep your chakras, your internal points of awareness around your throat, around your diaphragm, around your sacrum, to keep these open, keep the channel open, and yet still maintain a connection with your body. So this is really one of the pieces of art of yoga, is to be able to move skillfully and blend the internal strengthening and awareness and breath ability, the awareness of the nervous system and how it's reacting, with a physical posture. And not trying to force the body into a particular mold if your knee, for example, is higher. Okay, and then take that leg down. And we're going to go right up to standing, and I want to show you another way to do this, standing. So you're going to take the chair toward you, and just place your hands on the top of the chair, extend your arms, lift your chest, begin to mildly tone your legs, and feel that the support of the chair, and some chairs are better than others in terms of your physical dimensions. So this one is perfect for me. Even though other options, I can press my palms down on the top of the chair and have full extension of the arms. And that extension of the arms mirrors the extending breath in the back ribs. I can breathe here, I can feel the arms connecting into the mainframe of the body. And find a good Tadasana. 5 more breaths, just preliminary. And some people commented on Monday that the yoga was a little bit too geriatric, and we're not in our walkers yet. Hopefully we never will be. You see people with their hands on a walker, for example. But having said that, those implements for people that have physical impediments have a rationale to them. And so putting the hands on the back of the chair, pushing down, it allows you to lift the chest to engage the spinal erector muscles. And again, how much attenuation allows the breath to flow and feel the form. Now, if you were to take your hands to the chair and start to exhale, pull it into the hips and press the hips, front of the hips forward into the chair, how would that feel? So inhale, release the chair forward. I'm going to just step away from the chair for a second, a little bit. And inhale, I feel this nice lift. And exhale, I'm going to draw the chair toward the front of my hips and mildly push my hips forward into the chair. And repeat. Simple exercise. You can do it further and further back with the feet. Inhale. Make sure you still have the chair. And exhale, hold the chair into your legs and push your legs into the chair. Lift from the pelvic floor. And just repeat this. You can be as close as you want. This is more subtle. And notice what's happening as we exhale and draw the top of the chair toward the legs, the sacrum forward toward the chair. The shoulders are anchoring nicely in the main frame of the body. Inhale, I fill the sails of the rib cage. Exhale, everything comes to the Mula Bandha. So the back of the chair is a tactile way of bringing you into awareness of this gathering of the exhalation into your central core of your spine. It also, as you just take a few more breaths, experience it on your own without looking at me, tones your legs, tones your outer hips, tones around your knees. Maybe you can lift your toes. And so we're getting a little feedback, biofeedback in simple Tadasana. Then release the chair, bring the arms up to the sky, keeping that attenuation in your core. And then bend your knees and come to chair pose in honor of our chair. And see if you still have that bandha, that Mula Bandha aspect. So if you've done your work, inhaling, coming up, exhale, hands to chair, and just pull it into your hips, your sacrum, and just mildly rock the hips forward and up to taste. In other words, the trajectory of the hips back and forth for your body feels just right. Okay, so now what if we took our right leg over the chair like this and got a little more adventurous? And we can place our hands on top of the seat of the chair again and move the foot to the middle of the chair. And same thing, as I take a few breaths just to find a good structure, pressing my palms down, lifting my chest, spreading my collarbones. Inhale and exhale. What if I were to pull the chair using my heel to drag the heel back and drag this chair, hopefully your camera allows you to see this, back toward the top of my left leg. So you can use your hands and assist if you're feeling like you might fall over. Inhale, start here, exhale, but try to use the muscles in the underside of the right leg as well to pull the chair back toward you, lifting the front legs. And what is this? It's Mula Bandha again. Try it a few times. Inhale and exhale. And just slow breath. And really, once you've got it, close your eyes and feel, if you can, the gathering of everything, outer hip consolidation, shoulder consolidation, is really focusing or gathering at the pelvic floor. This is really a subtle pelvic floor exercise. We did it a few weeks ago. Once again, rest the chair forward, bring the arms up. And this is essentially your warrior one. But as you take a few breaths, inhaling, reaching the arms now, telescoping the ribs, up, up, up. As you exhale, can you find that same action as if you're going to pull the chair back toward you with that front heel and lift up the pelvic floor. And breathe, relax your throat. and then come down. Now, if you were quite an adventurous sort, you could try this, and I'm not suggesting this for everybody, by stepping the left foot back. Now I've got the toes a little more extended, pressing the palms down, and here's my warrior one with the chair slung or sistered back of the chair for that front leg. I can still feel as I take my hands to the top of the chair, that exhale reining in of chair as if we're trying to move to the back leg trying to move to the front. So that as I bifurcate or separate the legs, and now I can take a warrior one, I feel the work needed to do a safe warrior one. Hands to chair, lean forward a little bit, little hop as you go. Now, just for a moment, to see if my madness is yielding any fruit, let's bring the feet, take the chair aside together at the front of the mat, and let's step that left foot back again into our warrior one. Bring our arms up and breathe. And can you feel the internal structure of the chair and the memory, the kinesthetic memory of what it feels like on the exhale pattern to be dragging energetically the legs together at the point of Mula Bandha. Don't overdo this attenuation. Once you find it, at first it's very exciting, you feel super strong, but you've got to just refine it. Will allow you to do whatever things you want to do in warrior one. You can come forward into a warrior three. Just from this simple premise. But let's step the feet together and go to the other side. Now we'll take the left leg and foot center of the chair. And again, I'll have to start selling yoga chairs. Those folding chairs that the Iyengars use, got nothing on my nice antique wood chair. And I can put the hands down. I'm catching the bottom of the hammy, the hamstring and the belly, the hamstring and the left leg. And I just get tall, inhale, exhale. What is the action? So pulling the chair back, the front of my right leg hip flexor. Inhale forward, exhale. And you can press that back leg, the right leg, forward into the chair back as well. And just find that action. Should feel really strong right in that pelvic floor. Keep your throat relaxed, your face relaxed, and just isolate this movement. Once you have it, Mula Bandha is maintained on the exhale. Even as the chair goes forward, the arms come up, and you take 5 to 10 breaths in our modified warrior one. So that we've knitted the outer hips and the low back into a safe structure. And we're really doing pranayama work. Seeing how much we can telescope the ribs, maybe the head comes up, but not losing our guy wire, so to speak. Mula Bandha. Now, those that want to get a little more adventurous, lean forward, take a little hop back with the right leg. And now you've got an extended pose, the danger being that the legs are more bifurcated or separated, and that the task of Mula Bandha, of reining in these pelvic calves to keep the sacrum safe, is more extreme. Working here or keeping narrow, work your breath. Inhale, back ribs. Exhale, rein it in. Arms could come up if you've got that ability or stability. And it's a strong, strong work. This is hard work for me, even, to maintain the structure of the legs in a way that's not cheating. Cheating may be the wrong word, but unsafe. If you've gone into an extended pose, put your hands on the chair, lean forward, just give a couple little hops, come in safely. Now let's see if the experiment is worthwhile. We take the chair aside, feet to the front of the mat. I'm feeling already a lot of work in the hips as I step my right foot back, reach my arms up, and instead of just pushing the butt back to get the arms extended, I work that counter motion of the hips. And more important, the uplift of the bandha. The legs should feel super connected to one another, and the breath still able to flow and feel safe reaching up. Hands to hips, feet together, release. Okay, so let's do one more, show you how once you work the hips, to stretch the hips in a different manner than we started, which was to do the figure 4, is possible. And those of you who can do this, it's wonderful. We're going to take the right shin bone right across the top of the chair, put the hands on top of the chair, get tall, and inhale, lift the chest, bring the rib cage up. Exhale, actually push down into the chair with the hip. Now you can keep the hands as we had before, or if you've got a chair like mine, you can even hook the fingers underneath the seat back or on the sides and lift up and breathe. So again, we're creating 2 directions in juxtaposition to find our strong midline or Sushumna Nadi. For some, this is not an accessible move, but if that's the case, you can simply place your foot, left foot now on the chair, and just let your knee come up to the side like that. And you're still going to get some of the same benefit. And if you can, again, you just bring that left shin across. I'm going to hook my left toes around the side of my official yoga chair. And this is right away for me, I feel, because my left hip tends to be weaker, as it is for most, the laziness of the left hip. So to bring these hips into alignment, inhale, lift. Exhale, I'm going to push this left knee down. Or show off folks can just be holding your leg like without a chair, right? But the chair is useful in that you're not going to fall over, and you can have something a little more substantial to press down against. Okay, let's release that. And let's go ahead and take our chairs and just rotate them so that the chair backs away from us. And we're going to take our hands to the top of the chair, walk our feet back, bend our knees into Ardha Utkatasana, leaning forward chair and pressing the hands to the top of the chair, getting down into a squat. Inhale, exhale, drop the head within the arms, begin to straighten the legs for chair dog. And you need to walk the feet further back or forward. Inhale, looking toward your chair back. letting the plates of the shoulder blades spread across the back, and exhale. And just start to move in this way. Inhale, drop, and exhale. And then as you're in your downward dog, your chair dog, move one hand and then the other to the top of the chair, or the top of the seat of the chair rather. Lift your chest, and then just go ahead and walk your feet about a foot back. Inhale, look toward the hands. Exhale, now we're just taking it lower into one step further toward a downward dog. To exhale, drop the head within the arms, which are fully extended. And take 5 to 10 breaths here, toning the legs in the same way or feeling that we had with the initial work. And you can move back and forth between your high plank on chair, chest over the chair, legs toned. Inhale, to exhale, downward dog with the chair. And move at your own pace. One more time. Then we're going to come to that high plank position and just step your right foot forward outside the chair, lift your chest, sink your hips, and breathe. So if this is too hard for you to maintain, you could be doing this with the hands in the first position up on the back of the chair like that. So choose which arm position suits your shoulders well. Lifting your chest, dropping your hips, finding your Mula Bandha. Inhale. Exhale as if the hips were pressing forward as they drop. Another inhale, see if you can take the feet together again. Chair plank, exhale, chair dog. Drop back. And then inhale, chest comes forward, left leg comes forward to outside of the chair. And lift the chest, sink the hips, and breathe here. Feel the shoulders anchored, the upper arm bones anchored, the hips trying to anchor, all from that exhalation Mula Bandha. Again, if it's better for you to have the hands on the top of the chair to lift the chest, the upper back gets a little more extension. All these are modifications that most of you are quite experienced. You can begin to play with what suits your body. Another inhale, again exhale. Mula Bandha allows the feet to come together and dive back into your chair dog. Let's come forward to high plank and just carefully drop our knees down to a kneeling position. We're just going to do the stretch for the arms that we did on Monday before we continue to harder work. We put the elbows on top of the chair and bring the palms to face us. Drop the hips back and slide the arms now forward, flat. You can look at your uplifted palms. I have my pinky fingers touching. And I place my head within the arms, so the forehead's on top of the chair. Inhale, lengthens the arms forward with the telescoping, extending ribs. Exhale. I sit back with the hips, but I also engage Mula Bandha. This allows me to isolate the attenuation of the rib cage by pushing the forearms in external rotation of the arms into the chair. Couple more breaths while I grab water. And then when you're ready, coming up and out. And now we'll go ahead and take our right foot forward in a low lunge, as we did before on Monday. So you're taking your right foot outside the chair, and actually to place your hands on the bottom of the chair, hugging this right knee into the chair. And this action of contracting the adductor muscle slightly is going to bring us into the outer hip, right hip awareness. But let it, once you find that action, for me that's not enough. It has to tie into Mula Bandha. Now we're going to take a rotation and take the left arm up high, inhale, and come across the body to the outside of the right knee. And if you can, you're going to take your chair and move it right back into your body so that the top of the chair is right up against the lower left belly. And now I'm going to take the left hand to the back of the chair like this and pull it toward me. So I'm hugging the chair, not only with my left forearm now as I rotate right, but the right knee hugs into the chair. And now I've found my total body Mula Bandha as I allow myself to look right. Inhale, relax a little of the attenuation of the chair hug. Exhale, everything hugs the chair. And just pulsate in that opening accordion exhale hug. This is too much. You keep your hand outside your knee and stay more upright. But if it's feeling good, you can bring your right arm up and over. You've got a nice rotation with a safe Mula Bandha. Again, the exhalation, hugging the chair, hips coming forward. Just feel that action. Stay there to your heart's content, but when you're finished, come out of your rotation, place both hands on the top of the chair, and curl your left toes under. And now we start to lift that back knee, coming into the lizard pose we had a few moments ago. And now we start to straighten the front leg. So I can remain upright with my arms straight, looking forward as I separate the legs. If I have that Mula Bandha in play, I could come up on top of the chair with the hands and lift the chest here. If that feels better for your upper body. If I'm feeling like I can go deeper, I can slide the chair away from me. And those of you that want a deeper pose, you just start to slide the arms forward, place the head on top of the seat of the chair. So how much I extend out away from the midline really relies on my ability to keep that Mula Bandha action intact. If you've gone forward with the chair, you can stay there. We're coming into Trikonasana. So we're going to keep the right hand on the chair, start to rotate now to our left. Take your left hand to your hip. I love the right hand on top of the chair because it allows me to feel extension, and then up comes the left here. If you've gone down into your deeper permutation of the pose,
that I showed before. Then your right hand goes to the floor, and that's your work there. Again, I'm leaving it up to you to be safe as to how your practice plays out. When you're done, hands to chair, and that right knee comes down again. And we're simply going to bring the knees together, sit back toward a child's pose with the hands and the arms on the chair. Or if you prefer to bring the hands to the floor. With the chair, you begin to find, or I begin to find, that deep forward folds, as they exist in most yoga practices, are somewhat problematic in terms of keeping the upper spine happy. So let's switch legs. Low lunge, the left foot forward, outside the chair, and this knee's just going to hug the chair. It's a mild action. Hands to chair. And again, you just sort out with your breath and your bandhas the extension of the ribs on inhale and the movement of that back hip forward. Remember how we had the whole pulling of the chair. So you can even bring it in toward you like that and get a deeper hug into your pelvis. And those that can are going to take the right forearm to the top of the chair. If you prefer, you reach up right arm, come across in the classic outer left knee for your rotation left. This is good. It allows me to feel the extremities, the arm and the opposite leg, maybe bringing me into Mula Bandha. But if you can lean forward into the chair and wrap your right forearm around the back of the chair, inhale, lengthen the rib cage, telescope, exhale, just rein it in so that I'm creating strength around that right shoulder capsule and the outer left hip. Again, you can squeeze the heck out of these things and overwind the body. But once you get the action, just be subtle. Inhale, relax. Bring the breath in, exhale, almost like a coffee press. If you have a French coffee press in your house, where you just squeeze the plunger of Mula Bandha. And so you're working tapas with the breath and condensing and squeezing it's called the amrita, the nectar, out of the pose. So no pose exists in a totally constricted or contracted form, but it also doesn't play out well in a loose form. So you're finding that yin and yang, that inhale, exhale. And if you can play with Mula Bandha on the exhale, then you can go into deep poses safely. Stay there to your heart's content. When you're ready, square off, hands to the top of the chair again. Curl right toes under. Now we're going to lift the back legs straight in the front. Here's our Parshvottanasana. And for me, as I extend the legs apart, open the toes, open the knee joints, open the hip joints, all lifting up and consolidating Mula Bandha. And then exhale, squeezing the coffee press, if you will. I'm finding a safe way to come into an extended pose. And I'm lifted, I'm doing arm work. But if I wanted to go further, I slide the chair. but not at the sake of losing this pelvic Mula Bandha awareness and sacrificing the integrity of my low back, my breath. Inhale, extend, exhale. The hips are still trying to move forward, that back hip to meet the front. So you go forward and extend your heart's and breath's content. And then you come into your triangle pose. So that could mean left hand on the top of the chair, and without moving the hips into the rotation, move from the mid-back, open the sails of the upper rib cage, the armpit ribs. And the coffee press of the exhale is still operating down the basin of the pelvis. Again, this is subtle, subtle work. But once you get it, it allows you to realize that you don't actually need the lower hand at all. The Mula Bandha is holding the pose. Breathe into any of these postures to your heart's content, but when you're ready, carefully slide the chair toward you and drop your back knee down, your right knee down, bring your two knees together, and start to drop into your child's pose. You place the hands on the floor if you prefer. Very good. So let's come up and do a little bit of work with the chair against the wall if you have it. If you don't, it's okay. You could do this work without a wall. I'll show, just for the sake of those without a wall, we're going to essentially do what we did earlier with the right foot up the chair. And those that can are going to place the right leg over the top of the chair and now bring the hands to support you on the top of the chair. Now you can bend the back knee a little bit, your left knee, as you do this. And you want to pull back, hands on the top of the chair, lift the chest, inhale. Exhale, you're going to push the right leg down. A wall is lovely because I can move the chair close to the wall and place my foot, my right foot, right into the wall. Could bring those that have a stronger practice, the hands to the wall, but I suggest that you start with the belly of the calf muscle on top of the chair. Both knees can be soft to start with, and then as you exhale, you start to dynamically press the right leg, the calf, down into the chair, pull the toes back, inhale, relax the legs, lift the chest, exhale, push down. So this is similar to when we did the half pigeon, in that you're actioning down on the exhale with the leg. Again, those that want to lean forward, take a deeper pose. Don't lose your Mula Bandha as you press down with the leg. Flying pelvic floor. Extreme games version of the pose would be to take the foot, hands under the foot, and start to work toward the leg. But I'd rather you didn't. And And here's why, if you can take a peek, is the same action we started with. You can just watch it first, of dragging the chair back. We had a bent knee, and we pulled the chair toward us, moving this right hip back. Still has to exist in this extended leg. So rather than trying to dive into a forward fold over the front leg, what I'm going to suggest, if you can, with the hands on the chair, is to hold the chair, inhale, and exhale, pull the chair toward you, and pull the right hip back as you press down. And then release. Carefully extract the leg. So why is this, we're going to go to the other side in a second, why is this such a revelation? Because back in the day in the Ashtanga, when you'd grab your foot, you'd extend your leg, and then the instructor would say, now I want you to fold over your front leg. Most people will start to fold, and they'll completely destroy their low back. But if instead, we're not doing that, we're pulling the hip back. We're pulling the leg toward us rather than so much our bodies toward the leg. Then the same advanced pose starts to look differently. I inhale, lengthen. I exhale, instead of trying to lean forward, I draw the leg toward me. And that's a different action. I'm not saying do that, I'm just showing you the Mula Bandha. Let's switch to the other side. If you have a wall, you're just carefully stepping up with the left foot. And maybe you're saying, well, I can't really do this. It's too extreme. You could just have your left leg straighten on the seat, like that. And maybe you get to about here with your hands, and that's it. But if you can trust yourself to place the left foot against the wall and find the belly of the calf muscle with the top of the chair, hands to chair for stability, or hands to wall. Your knees can be soft, you can just relax. As you exhale, press down into the chair with that left leg. And just inhale, relax, and lengthen, exhale, push down. This is the same action I started class with, where the Mula Bandha, the left hip dragging back, the right hip forward, is coffee pressing right into the core. And this is essentially what you want to be feeling. The rest, in terms of how far forward I fold, is not important, in my opinion. Especially as we get a little further on, we want to think about upright poses and about working the strength and awareness in the pelvis. If it feels safe for you, even if you're micro-bending the front knee, you can take the hands to the wall. If it feels safe for you, you can start to come even further forward. It really doesn't matter, you have to watch your own body. Then when you come out safely, and you can take a downward dog or forward fold. Again, to show you the action that I'm proposing is with extended poses, either standing or balancing, is that as I start to extend out from the midline, I have to be able to exhale, rein it back in, and bring it to me, rather than me going to the leg. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. And now let's just take the hands to the top of the chair, step the feet back, do a nice downward dog. Bend the knees, lengthen the chest, inhale. And exhale, find your Mula Bandha. Hold and hang the pose on. The head can relax, chest comes toward the chin. Hands now can, one at a time, come to the floor. You take your Uttanasana forward fold. Then you can bind your opposite elbows, soften your knees. So you inhale, lengthen, using gravity as your ally, the ribs. Exhale, coffee press into Mula Bandha, which may or may not straighten the legs. Couple more breaths. In forward fold. And place the hands on the ground, bend the knees, come to Malasana. And allow the arms to rest on top of the knees. So the same action of the arms pushing on top of the knees and the pelvic floor lifting is in play in Malasana. Classically, we take the elbows inside the inner knees and the palms together and hug the inner thighs, the adductors, to try and get to Mula Bandha. But today, mostly I've had you work this down pressure of the arms to let the shoulders find integration and some space under the armpits. The ultimate test for some of Mula Bandha is the crane pose, coming forward, inhale, and exhale to lift the legs and pull on the pelvic floor. That may be for a couple people. Again, not necessary, but the advanced postures require a Mula Bandha awareness that many don't have. Let's take the chairs to our backs like this now and just do a little bit of back bend before we close. We're going to just reach around to the front legs of the chair and get tall in our Dandasana. Again, just using the back of the chair into the tips of the shoulder blades, leaning back, inhale, and exhale. Find the Mula Bandha. And then go ahead and take your hands under your knees, lift your knees, lift your chest, inhale, and exhale. Push the legs down, lift the chest up. And if you find that after a few breaths, you can do the same action with the hands on top of the feet or holding the strap. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, Mula Bandha, coffee press up through the pelvic floor, down through the legs. And you work sequentially, seeing where you can go. Do a couple more rounds of breath, and then we'll close off. Coming up, carefully, which is one of the tests of your Mula Bandha, is to be able to get out of the forward fold without damaging your back. So what I was suggesting earlier, just to recap, with forward folds, now we'll do a little asymmetry in Janu Sirsasana with the left knee in, is to let the leg come to you. So I've got my right leg extended, I've got my left hand around the condyle, the kneecap, and I'm pressing my right palm down into the floor. Inhale, lengthen, telescope the ribs, floating from the outer hips to the armpit ribs. Exhale, I find the coffee press. So, Janu Shirshasana, for most, grabbing the front foot, placing the head on the front shin. Terrific, if you can get there. And not compromise your low back. If not, you've got your towel, you've got your strap. Take the strap of the towel, maybe you bend the front knee, and you work the same actions, pushing down into the ground with your pelvis as you lift up through the pelvic floor. Maybe you've got a bent front knee. So everybody, just for the sake of finding this Mula Bandha action, bend your front knee. Inhale as you exhale, and more. Pull the knee back toward you, rather than you moving to the knee. Inhale, lift the chest, exhale, pull it in. Pull it in. And then maybe float it up. Let's switch legs with the left foot forward and the right knee bent. Right hand, palm goes right over the kneecap. The left palm just outside the left hip. Inhale, float the lungs open, the ribs open. Exhale, coffee press. Be careful when you do what I'm calling coffee press or Mula Bandha pelvic floor lift. You don't jam in your throat chakra. And one of the reasons why the Jalandhara Bandha, or the chin lock, is in play is to prevent this. Again, you can forward fold safely forward, keeping Mula Bandha. Terrific. Otherwise, towel, inhale, exhale, press. And begin to allow the front knee to bend with every exhalation. Bringing the leg toward you. And maybe lifting the leg up. Like Pranajasana. Release. Let's finish laying down for Shavasana. Those that want to plow pose, your chair is there, and you can slide it back and use it for your legs to rest on top of the chair in modified plow. When you're done with your finishing postures, Shavasana, allowing the arms to rest, the legs, hips and the shoulders, throat. Allow the breath to slow down. And have a sense of the sweetness of the yoga practice circulating in the body that you can take with you through your day, the essence of your practice. And then you can bend your knees when you're ready, roll to one side, and carefully come up seated. Find a comfortable seat, find your center line. And once you've played with the Mula Bandha, the straightness of the spine develops nicely. The strength of the integration of the lower and the upper body comes online. Palms